The Family Guy intro was written in 1999 as a parody of classic American sitcoms like All in the Family. These shows were built on a vanilla, PG portrayal of life meant to hold the line against America's moral decline. Society is collapsing, everyone is a freak, and oversexualization is everywhere. You've heard some version of this claim at least 100 times, and it's usually delivered as a self-evident fact. But Family Guy was already mocking that mindset 27 years ago. So, ask yourself, how long have we been insisting that the media is drowning in sex and violence? And where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? To claim that we are in moral decline, two things have to be true. First, the past has to have genuinely been more modest than the present, and second, the appetite driving today's content has to be new, bigger, stranger, or hungrier than whatever came before it. But what if what actually changed isn't us? What if it's something much more interesting than a moral collapse? Let's start with claim one, that the past was cleaner. The Roman historian Livy opens his History of Rome with exactly this complaint. Writing under Augustus, he warns that Rome's growing wealth had bred luxuria, indulgence, excess, and appetite without restraint, and that this decay in private morals was dragging the whole republic down with it. This is a Roman senator-class historian, writing over 2,000 years ago, making the identical argument that you'll find in newspaper op-eds today. I want you to picture Pompeii before Vesuvius buried it. Imagine you're walking across the uneven stones, and you pass a bakery and turn down a narrow alley, and the walls are covered in explicit paintings, sitting right at eye level, right next to advertisements for wine. This is the Lupanar, the city's brothel, and the imagery was meant to work like a menu. What should really surprise you about this is that none of this was hidden. It sat in plain public sightlines, unremarkable to the people walking past it on the way to buy bread. The classicist Mary Bread has built much of her career studying exactly this kind of material, and her conclusion is blunt. This wasn't a moral collapse. Phallic wind chimes hung in gardens as good luck charms and fertility symbols sat above doors. By the physical evidence, this was closer to wallpaper and tradition than it was to a scandal. So, the modest past doesn't hold up in Rome, but does it hold up somewhere else? If we jump to London in 1660, the theaters had just reopened after nearly 2 decades of Puritan rule had shut them down entirely. And for the first time, actresses step onto an English public stage, and the audience doesn't know what to do with itself. As restoration comedy fills the air with adultery plots and jokes a modern network would flag for content, the backlash is instant. In 1698, the clergyman, Jeremy Collier, publishes an entire pamphlet attacking the stage as a moral hazard, and it becomes a sensation precisely because so many people already agreed with him before they'd even read a single page. Notice what that means. The complaint that entertainment is corrupting society was already old enough by 1698 to feel like common sense. And by the 1920s, you had newspapers calling the music in jazz clubs animalistic. In the 1950s, Elvis Presley's hips could only be filmed from the waist up because a pelvis on American television was judged as too much. In the 1980s, you had parents forming committees to slap warning labels on record albums. So, the past was never as modest as people assume, which means the entire argument has to rest on the second claim, that the appetite itself, the actual human desire underneath all of this, is genuinely new. But this is where it gets interesting, because it turns out that your own brain is quietly manufacturing that illusion for you through 2 different mechanisms stacking on top of each other. The first is what researchers call moral decline bias. Researchers at Harvard analyzed survey data spanning more than 60 years, asking people across generations whether morality had gotten worse. The answer was almost always yes, no matter which decade you asked. People in the 1960s were certain morality had declined since the 1940s. People in the 2000s were certain it had declined since the 1980s. Plotted across time, and the line stays pointing down, insisting the present is the worst it's ever been, regardless of what year the present happens to be. Now, the researchers trace this to 2 effects working together. Memory quietly sands the rough edges off your own past, and the news you consume today is disproportionately loaded with worse things happening right now. So that explains why the past looks cleaner than it was, but it doesn't explain why the present feels so uniquely intense. This is where psychologist George Loewenstein's research on emotional gaps comes in. Adults consistently underestimate how strongly they themselves once felt pulled towards novelty, risk, and sex when they were young. So when the next generation acts on those exact same impulses, it looks foreign. But you're not making a proper comparison, and you're actually comparing today's youth to an edited memory of yourself. The past wasn't modest, and the appetite isn't new. What has changed is our access. A Roman fresco stayed up on one wall in one city. You had to physically walk to it. A 1950s pinup stayed inside a magazine that you had to buy in person from another human being who could see your face while you bought it. Today, the same category of content reaches your phone in your bedroom in seconds, alone, with zero friction and zero witnesses.